Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Tami, the creator of the blog and this YouTube channel called Nutmeg Notebook. And this is where my husband Tom and I share all about our whole food plant-based lifestyle. And today is extra special because we're actually celebrating our 8th anniversary of being plant-based. So we're pretty excited about that. It was in 2013 in spring, in March. I don't have an exact date, I'd been dabbling in it. But anyway, this is the month that we celebrate, so we're excited about that. If you're joining us for the first time, we are happy to answer your questions. If you would, well, I'll let Tom tell you. Actually, should I bring you on, Tom? Oh, he says what?
I'm checking sound. I have no idea what you're talking about because I had the earbuds in.
Oh, I was going to bring you on and have you talk about, you put yourself on. Are you on?
I'm on, yes.
All right, great.
I don't know if our lips are synced, but I was trying to see if your lips were matching your words.
Oh, okay. Sometimes he has to make a little adjustment on that because the video can be too fast or too slow. But anyway, do you want to tell them if they want to ask a question what they should do?
Oh,
I'm sorry. I thought you wanted me to ask you to come.
No,
on.
I was deep in. This has happened before. When I've got the earbuds in and I'm hunched over the screen going like this, that's when I'm
But I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at the camera
as
when
you
I'm
should
talking.
be. She should be looking at you guys, right? She shouldn't be looking at me.
Although I want to look at you.
So I've got a couple of screens over here, and one is for me to keep an eye on questions. And so please give me 4 question marks before and after if they're conventional question marks. If you find those really big red or green ones that come out of the emoji pool, those work really well too. Then you only have to do 1 batch of 4 of those. I noticed some folks who do that.
Those pop up.
So anyway, welcome everyone. We are glad you're here. And
our moderators are here.
Yeah, and you're going to have a little bit of a presentation initially before we move into questions. Yeah, so Tammy's going to run through a little bit of a...
But they can ask questions. If they have questions along the way, I'm good with that because this is a really loose presentation.
Okay, so I have to pay attention all the time.
Yeah, it would be a good idea.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when she's got a presentation, I can sit over here and zone out a little bit and take it easy. So
not today, because today it's pretty loose.
Okay, well, I'm going to send this back to you, and I'm going to continue with the lip sync check.
Okay, cool.
And you've got a few submitted questions.
I do. I have questions that people sent to us through email, and so we will be answering those after I talk about our journey up to this point.
Okay.
So you want to put me back on this camera?
I sure can. Are you ready?
Wherever
Here you
want
go.
me to go. See, we're really loose today. It's okay. So anyway, I'm just going to talk a little bit about how I ended up going plant-based and then got Tom to come along with me. For those of you who are new, but we do have a video all about our journey where we go into a lot more detail. So in 2012, at one of my appointments with my doctor for a yearly physical, he said, you have a trend, your LDL cholesterol has been going up the last couple of years, and if this trend continues, we're going to need to put you on a statin. And I said, yeah, I'm not going to do that. My parents are on statins and complain about all the side effects, and I don't want to do that. And he was like, well, you live a very healthy lifestyle, you eat great, you exercise. He said, it's hereditary, it's genetics, there really isn't anything that you can do. And that kind of made me mad, so I kind of left thinking, yeah, I'm going to show you, buddy, which I did. So I started doing some research and stumbled on whole food plant-based, saw Dr. Fuhrman on a PBS special for his Eat to Live program, bought his book, read it, waited until the next year because I was getting ready to have surgery. Our daughter was getting married. We had a lot going on. And so then I did transition in 2013, and when I told Tom all about it, he wasn't on board to do it himself at that time, but he was extremely supportive of me. And then, as time went on, he realized that the food was delicious, and the more I introduced him to videos and documentaries and would read him things out of the books that I was reading and educating him, eventually he came on board with me as well. Thank goodness he did, because now we have this wonderful YouTube channel, and he does, all of the technology for it. So it's been wonderful to be able to do this together. And And I did reduce my LDL cholesterol, as did he. We both lost weight. About a year into it, I did develop hypothyroidism, had nothing to do with the plant-based diet. When I did speak to a couple of the plant-based doctors about that, they said more than likely your thyroid condition was developing, long before you went plant-based. It just manifested itself after I went plant-based. I went on levothyroxine, have been on the smallest dose that you could take for all these years and do just great. And I know that some people do get off their thyroid medication once they go whole food plant-based. That was not obviously the case for me, but we're all different. And I think one thing that it's important to remember about a whole food plant-based diet is that it is not a cure-all for everything. It does not make us bulletproof. Bad things can still happen, especially when we're looking at diseases like cancer that have been probably developing over the course of a number of years. And even though you've gone plant-based and maybe you've been plant-based for a year or two, if something was developing, going plant-based may have done a bit of a reset, slowed it down, but that doesn't mean that you might not still get something. I know 2 plant-based bloggers who ended up having some cancer, and that cancer probably started developing years and years before they ever went plant-based. So not to be a Debbie Downer, but I think we just have to be realistic about it, that this is a fantastic lifestyle. It offers us tremendous protection from so many lifestyle diseases. But that doesn't mean that something still can't happen. And so, I still believe that, we need medicine along with the plant-based diet. But that's my own personal philosophy. So I gained weight when I became hypothyroid, even though I was following Dr. Fuhrman's plan to the T and loving it. But I started gaining some abdominal fat and went in to the doctor, got my thyroid checked, and found out that I had the hypothyroidism. Even after I got on the medication, I wasn't able to lose the 25, 30 pounds that I gained when my thyroid started to malfunction. And that's when I found Chef AJ and John Pierre's online program called the Ultimate Weight Loss Program, and I joined it, and it was whole food plant-based, SOS free, which stands for salt, oil, and sugar free, but it also eliminated flour products and alcohol. And alcohol was easy for me. I was never a drinker, so that was pretty easy. Giving up the flour, though, I have to say that one made me think twice about, whoa, really? And when I originally started it, I thought, well, eventually I'll be able to eat flour products again. But of course, after I experienced how wonderful I felt eating plant-based SOS free plus alcohol and flour free, SOFAs is what AJ calls it, there was just no turning back. And I was able then to lose the weight. And I read The Pleasure Trap, which is the book by Alan Goldhammer and Doug Lyle. And this is where I discovered that I really wasn't broken. It was just that I was trying to eat the wrong foods. And there are certain people that just cannot eat the high calorie density foods in moderation because they just want to hijack our brain and we just want more of them. And so it was actually very freeing to learn that, because then I knew I wasn't broken. There wasn't anything wrong with my brain. In fact, if there was a famine, I would probably be a survivor because my body's really good at holding on to fat. So I was able to, in 2015, lose my weight. I get asked all the time, how long did it take? I don't know. I didn't document it. I wasn't keeping track of the numbers on this scale regularly. I had Tom hide my bathroom scale at one point for like 3 months just to break the habit of getting on it, because I didn't want to be addicted to how much I weighed. There's so many ways that you can tell that you're losing weight. You know, when your clothes start to fall off of you, you know you've lost weight. When your rings get loose, your watch gets loose, your belt starts getting too loose, your pants are too loose, you know then you're losing weight. We don't have to get on the scale, but if getting on the scale works for you, that's great. I do better not weighing myself a lot. It's just better for me. Tom has a question.
Oh, there's a couple of questions.
Sure.
And this one kind of was, you were talking about your beginnings. What did you not like about Dr. Fuhrman's nutritarian style that you?
Oh, I liked his food plan really well, but for whatever reason, when my thyroid had started acting up, I just couldn't lose the weight even after I went back on levothyroxine. And on Chef AJ's plan, you got rid of the higher calorie density foods like avocado, tofu, and nuts and seeds. And that just made a big difference for me. I think it was the higher calorie density, higher fat foods that were still included on Dr. Fuhrman's plan that just didn't work for me. And that's just me. Tom could still eat those things and still lose weight, but that was just me. And so that tweak made all the difference for myself.
Okay, and then thank you. Then Jane is asking, what do you use as your main starch? Do you care whether a potato is white or a sweet potato?
Yeah, I love Yukon Gold potatoes, and I love Japanese sweet potatoes and Hana yams. Those are my favorite. I also like oat groats, and I have a video on how to make oat groats so that they turn out kind of like brown rice. I use those more than brown rice. Tom loves rice. I just don't feel as satiated eating the rice. Plus, the oat groats are really good for my cholesterol, and so I like being able to eat those. So those are my main starches, and I love winter squash, like kabocha squash. I love kabocha squash, and I eat quite a bit of that as well.
And then this is on a new subject. Evie has a gadget question. She says, what is the attachment you use when you blend the quinoa with the vitamin? I think she's talking about...
Yeah, and I'll talk about that when I'm answering
cover
questions.
That when you get into the... Okay.
I've got an email.
Evie, she actually has it sitting here. So,
yes, so
we're
that we
be
can talk about that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to the bottom here. And,
okay.
Are you still not eating tofu? Dina is asking.
Yeah, once in a while I will eat tofu, but for me, being able to lose the weight after I became hypothyroid, I really needed to cut out those higher fat foods. And even though they're perfectly healthy, tofu is actually in the 600 calorie per pound on the calorie density chart, but it just has enough extra fat that it interfered with me being able to lose weight. And you know, if it works for you to eat it and still be able to lose weight, then I say go for it. So I have it once in a great while, not very often, but I'll sometimes make it and put it in the fresh spring rolls.
Yeah, you have it sometimes now. When you were in weight loss mode, you rarely or never had it.
I never had it then.
So, but it's a rare...
And I didn't have avocado then. Now, you know, maybe once a month, I'll have a little bit of avocado. The nuts, I rarely have the nuts, but I will have some hemp seeds or flax seeds or some chia seeds. Usually I'll use those in a recipe, but I will have some of those. But I stay away from the nuts and the nut butters. They're just so high calorie density, and I don't find them that satiating. But you know, I might sprinkle a little bit of chopped nuts on something for a special occasion. Okay,
one last question, then you can go back onto your notes here. Susan Johnson is asking, she noticed that her Yukon Gold potatoes seem to have a green tinge earlier than she can get them used up. She's heard that at that point they cannot be eaten. Is that correct?
Yes, they can make you sick.
And is that seasonal a little bit? I have had a little bit of that recently. I think it maybe the time of year when they're harvested and stuff.
I don't know. It'd be something good to look up, huh?
Yeah, but I've noticed that a little bit lately. I've had to pitch just a couple days ago. I showed you one and I said, this one's got like green, and you said pitch it.
Yeah.
So, but it's one here and there. It's not the whole bag.
Right.
But we buy pretty far ahead on potatoes. Okay, well, why don't you go ahead and dive back in?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. And so, I kind of lost my train of thought there. So I was talking about the just tweaking a little. I tweaked my diet a little bit when I went on Chef AJ's program, and that worked really well for me. And on her program, you eat vegetables for breakfast, specifically dark leafy greens, because the thylakoids in those help curb the appetite. So that was a real game changer for me as well. And so once I lost the weight, then I was able to maintain it, and I have been maintaining ever since. And Tom lost weight and has been able to maintain his weight loss as well. So within the one of the things that I guess that we have learned is that within the whole food plant-based community, all of the plant-based doctors agree a whole food plant-based diet with minimally processed foods is the best way to go to have optimal health, to prevent or reverse diseases, lifestyle-related diseases, to increase our chances of not getting cancer, of living a full, long, healthy, productive life. Because I don't want to live long if I'm not healthy. I want to be healthy throughout the rest of my life. And within that, then they have slightly different recommendations. Like John McDougall is a real strong encourager of eating plenty of starch. He likes half your plate to be cooked or raw vegetables and the other half to be starch. That works really well for me. I happen to do really well with the starch. I find it very satiating. I don't find myself overeating on it. It fills me up. It makes me happy. It just works really well for me. Dr. Fuhrman has his G-bombs, and he also, wants everyone to eat an ounce of nuts or seeds a day. And, if that works for you, then go for it. And, that's great. So they just have their little nuances. And of course, Dr. Greger has his daily dozen with all the things that he recommends. And so what I have learned is there's not one plan that is perfect for all of us, that within the plant-based community and within the recommendations that the plant-based doctors make, find the plan that works the best for you. And I'm a bit of a results-driven person. And so, if you're doing it and you're getting the results you want, then continue to do it. If you're not getting the results you want, then you might have to change something. I know when we did a show a couple weeks ago about weight loss, some people were saying, that you should eat the way that Doug Lyle says you should eat while you're losing weight, eat the way that you intend to eat to maintain the weight loss. Well, I couldn't eat avocado, tofu, and those types of things during weight loss because they prevented me from losing weight. I also can't consistently eat those things to maintain my weight loss. And so although I wish I could, because who doesn't love tofu and avocado and nut butters and nuts and seeds, but what I had to do is I had to surrender to the reality, my reality, that those foods could not be a part of my daily diet. And once I accepted that, I found great joy in being able to eat the foods that I can eat without having to weigh and measure them, and be satisfied at the end of the day and have no regrets or no feelings of guilt at the end of the day for how I eat. And so, and that's what works for me. If I could eat those things, would I? Absolutely. And Tom can eat those things in moderation and not gain weight. Let's see, I want to check what else I wanted to say. Yeah, so just test the waters and figure out what works best for you, and also the quantity of food, the amount of food that you can eat. That varies from person to person. I get a lot of people asking me, well, you know, how many potatoes a day should I eat? How much salad should I eat? And I can't answer that. You have to figure that out for yourself through trial and error and listening to your body, and stop eating when you are comfortably full. And eventually you will figure it out. So the things that I love about it is, you know, we went into this for health reasons. Tom's family has a history of cancer. My family has a history of type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, high blood pressure, heart disease. I mean, I could go on and on. And so I didn't want that to be my destiny. I wanted to take control and to be able to change that. But once we started down the path of whole food plant-based living, then we got involved with our local vegan society, and then we learned about the animals and more about the environment. And then we realized what a wonderful thing that we're doing, because we are saving animals, we are helping to protect our environment. We also, of course, love the protection against disease. We absolutely love the food. We couldn't keep doing this for 8 years if we didn't love the food that we eat. And there is a time period where you have to neuroadapt, especially when you're going SOFAs free, when you're eliminating salt, oil, sugar, flour, and alcohol. There is a time period where you have to adapt to that, and you do adapt, and your taste buds do change, and then you can experience the true flavor of whole natural foods, which is so exciting. So we love the food we eat, and we love the plant-based community. We have made so many amazing friends in the plant-based community, not only in our local community, but also in the worldwide community. And we love that you guys join us every Sunday as well. Another question, Tom?
Yeah, you were talking a little bit ago about the flavor of things, and
Yes.
so I wanted to bring this question in now. Linda had asked earlier, what do you put on potatoes and squash instead of butter seasoning? I'm so used to the fat feel in my mouth.
Yes, and that takes a while to, am I still on this camera?
We're here.
That takes a while to adapt to. So, and it can take up to like 3 months to adapt to not having the fat, but you will start to enjoy it. So
there's an actual turnaround that I was shocked to find, because I encountered something that had, whether it was the vegan butter in it or whatever, and my mouth was all slimy and my lips were slippery, and I was like, what is going on? My mouth feels like a car engine or something. like I drank oil, like I drank some motor oil. But it was the oil in the food. And so I had adapted away from that idea of that fat feel, which I never would have guessed that, would happen. So now when that occurs, it's like, there's oil in this, I can't eat this, kind of a reaction. I have a reaction to it
Yes.
that's not positive.
And
so I went from wanting and liking that to having it be objectionable.
yeah, so we're at a point where we just love a plain potato. We can just, like a Yukon Gold potato hot out of the oven is like one of my favorite things.
Because they're so buttery and delicious.
Yeah, they're so delicious. But and people, if you have suggestions that you want to put in the comment section.
That's been going on for a while.
Yeah.
There's been a whole potato discussion going on.
Okay, so you can make my Alfredo sauce. That is delicious on a baked potato. My oil-free hummus is wonderful on a potato. You can do the SOS-free ketchup or barbecue sauce. Well Your World sells a whole line of SOS-free salad dressings and sauces. There's an Asian sauce, an Indian sauce, ketchup, and barbecue sauce. He also has a gravy mix. You can make a vegan, no oil gravy. You can make our Chipotle nacho cheese sauce, or the Donna's cheese sauce. Both of those recipes are on our blog. We also have videos on our YouTube channel on how to make those. You can use salsa. Salsa is fantastic on a baked potato. You can mash beans and put mashed beans on it. I'll sometimes just take canned beans and mash them, add a little bit of cumin, garlic powder, and onion powder, put that on the baked potato, nutritional yeast, some no salt seasoning. Well Your World has a no salt seasoning. There's also Benson's Table Tasty that you can put on it. Am I missing anything?
Well, you got hummus. Deborah Chan mentioned hummus on here. So.
Yeah, I love hummus on a baked potato. It's really, really good. Probably my favorite would be the cheese sauce, though, the Chipotle Nacho cheese sauce. And then, you can add steamed broccoli.
Especially when I make it.
Oh, especially when you make it.
Cheese sauce always tastes better when someone else makes it.
Yes,
Do you ever notice that?
Yes, it does. And so just know that you need to let yourself have time to neuro-adapt and get used to it. And you could probably make something with tofu to put on it as well.
Yeah, same thing holds true with salt and most certainly with sugar. That I used to salt individual bites, and now I don't even know where the salt shaker is. We have one somewhere for when we have company.
We do.
Dina's asking, do you use reduced fat peanut powder for anything? I don't recall that you do.
I bought some years ago when I first went plant-based, and when our refrigerator broke last weekend, and so we had to empty it out so Tom could fix it. And I found the peanut powder
from years ago.
Yeah, it still looks good. It smells fine. So I was thinking, like, how could I use that? Could I don't know what I would. I guess I could put it like in my brownies, my whole food plant-based brownies or something. So I did find some, and I don't know what to do with it yet.
Okay.
And it was a defatted peanut powder that I bought from some mill.
What if I blended it with some potatoes and a little bit of almond milk, and I could use that for a peanut butter spread on what?
Yeah, on what?
Corn tortilla chip, air fried, no oil. I'm going to have a peanut butter air fried corn chips. What do you think? How's that recipe sound?
I don't know. Well, you do have bread once in a great while if the kids are here.
All right.
But we keep some bread for the kids.
Okay. What do you add to the Well Your World mushroom gravy mix?
Yeah, just like I like the Herbs de Provence. So it just depends on what your what flavor profile that you like.
Yeah, Lucy said it got kind of a funny green color when they just added almond milk to it.
Oh, it does have a little bit of a green color. Absolutely, it does. But, he tries to make those things very neutral so that you can customize those. But I like the Herbs de Provence. You could add some poultry seasoning. Poultry seasoning does not have any poultry in it. It's just seasoning, some marjoram, rosemary would be really nice. You could add thyme, would be good in it. So black pepper.
Okay. We're caught up. I'm going to put you back on camera one.
Okay. And so another thing I learned was that that for many of us, moderation is a myth. And so, the old theory that you can eat everything in moderation, for some of us, that just isn't true. And that doesn't make us bad or broken or anything. It just happens to be, our truth. And so one thing I also learned is that you just have to accept the truth about yourself. And so, I didn't want to think that I was a food addict in the beginning, but when I joined Chef AJ's program and went through it and learned everything, I realized, yep, I was a processed food addict. So the highly processed foods that were high in fat and sugar and salt just hijack my brain and make me want to have more and make me feel really out of control. And avoiding those makes me just feel really calm and helps me to feel normal. And so avoiding those is really easy because I don't want to give up how great I feel, and I never want to go down that rabbit hole of yo-yo dieting again because that is just awful and miserable. Oh, we didn't show my before picture for people who are new to us.
I have it
either.
here.
Yeah, maybe we should show that.
I can put that on. It's right here.
Okay. to it.
And you're in the little window up above.
Okay, there it is. So there I was at my highest weight, and I was wearing like a size 16 there.
Looking at the famous fruit stand.
I was, okay, Tom always says, well, you were looking at the fruit stand, but you weren't eating it. No, I was not eating, well, I was eating some fruit, but it was probably dipped in chocolate. And there, of course, an after photo. And somebody not too long ago emailed me or messaged me on Facebook and said, you need to do a more recent after photo. I want to see what you look like now. So the photo on the thumbnail
of this video
we took yesterday, just so you know. I thought, okay, she's like, we can't see you behind that counter. And I thought, well, do you think I gained all my weight back and I'm hiding it? I don't know. It was kind of a weird request. But anyway, so we did a new shot yesterday. The other thing I learned is that this journey is not a steady uphill climb. It's more like this. There's peaks and valleys. And that's okay. It doesn't matter, how many times you have to begin again, or, it just matters how many times you get up and that you don't give up and that you keep trying. And there's nothing wrong with that, and that's okay. It's just like, people who try to give up smoking or alcohol or drugs, they are not always successful the first time around. So if you've had difficulty getting going, don't worry. That doesn't mean you're not going to get where you want to get. Just don't give up. The other thing that we have learned is that having a clean environment is extremely important. And for us, batch cooking is really important, to always have delicious, healthy food prepared that we can eat and, that we can just pull together at the last minute and eat, because we're very busy, even though we are supposedly retired, but we seem to be working full time. And we help a lot with our grandchildren. And so we're gone from the house quite a bit. And when we get home in the evening, we don't want to start making a meal from scratch. So for us, batch prepping food on the weekends, or even during the week, if we have an extra hour to make things, that has been just essential for us to be successful on this. Also, we had a big change in our social life as well, because our friends did not want to have us over because they didn't want to eat the way we eat, even though I was willing to bring all of our own food and so forth. And, and that's okay. We just found new sets of friends and people who are more like-minded like us. And we had a huge impact on our adult children, which was really interesting. So we didn't preach to them about this lifestyle, but in their wanting to protect mom and dad, they were doing their own research about whole food plant-based, because they wanted to make sure that we weren't doing something that was going to be detrimental to our health. And so they were researching behind the scenes, and then when they would come over, they would ask us lots of questions. And our daughter was on board pretty quickly. She was reading the same books that I was reading, and in fact, I would order 2 books, and one for me and one for her. When Dr. Fuhrman would have new books coming out, I would order one for me and one for her. And because, she would have us over, she wanted to be able to cook food that we would be able to eat. And then she decided to transition. She decided this was going to be the best way for her to eat as well, and she wanted to do that before she started her family. And so that was very exciting for us. And it makes it so much easier when another family member is eating the same way, because then when you get together, it's so easy to have get-togethers because you're all making the same kind of food. And then our son also did research, and he decided on his own to transition. And he would come home and, he would ask us lots of questions, and we would answer his questions and give him videos, and, I would give him books. And so he decided to also go plant-based. And so now our 3 grandchildren are all whole food plant-based as well. Now they do eat some salt, oil, and sugar. They are not as strict as I am. And Tom eats a little more liberal diet than I do too, because he can. He's able to do that, and and we don't have any health conditions that we have to be worried about where I have to stay 100% strict just to be able to control my weight, but Tom has more leeway than I do. More questions, Tom?
Yeah, I do have some question marks up here.
Okay.
Does Tami avoid flours made from legumes, or, for example, chickpea flour, to make omelets?
Yeah, I did make some of those some years ago, and I haven't done that for a really long time. It's funny that you asked that, because I was thinking about those chickpea omelets the other day, and I don't know if those would be a problem for me or not. Whenever you take something, even if it's legumes, and you grind it, you are increasing the calorie density of it. So I haven't made anything with like the chickpea flour in a long time. I do sometimes use a little bit of oats and grind the oats and make some pancakes out of those for the grandkids, or my brownies. I do throw some oats in that and grind those up, but it's not like an everyday kind of thing for me, or a weekly kind of thing.
Okay, another question, Vivi. There's been some dialogue about this on cooking spray. Tami sautés with water. The cooking sprays have a lot of, as Jesse mentioned in the chat feed, have a lot of added things to them.
Chemicals.
Some of them even advertise that they're no-fat cooking oil. Well, it's one of the doctors, McDougall, or one of them, says oil is oil is oil, and oil is 4,000 calories per pound. But their loophole is that the Food and Drug Administration's regulations are kind of dose related, and the amount of their serving is this tiny spray, and it's not enough oil to register as an official measure of oil. And so they say that it's
doesn't have fat in it.
That it's no fat, because their little spritz is below the reportable threshold. So, but do people just use that little spritz, or do they go all over the pan? So saute with water was the conclusion here in the chat feed.
Yeah, and I have a video. We made a video
how to
no oil saute, and I show you. I even in a stainless steel skillet show you how you can saute onions and mushrooms without even using water.
So find it in the channel videos, or search on the YouTube search bar Nutmeg Notebook no oil cooking, and it'll come up. Suzanne was asking about the Beet Boost. What is the red drink? It's Beet Boost from NutriGardens. The link is down in the show notes too. We are affiliates of those, and it's Tami's favorite beverage just about every day. And do you sweeten it with anything?
No.
Because
it doesn't need it.
It doesn't need it.
Well, I've been off sugar for so long that, like even carrots taste sweet to me now, and that happens. So no, I don't. It has cherries in it as well. It has beets and cherries, and they're actually, I feel like it's kind of sweet. So, but it's very tasty and good, and I try to have a glass of it. Most days. Some days I don't, but most days I have a glass of it, and I really like it.
Fran was asking, I don't know if this is part of the chat or, okay, no, okay, here's it. Janice is asking, when you first started losing weight and ate non-starchy vegetables for breakfast, did you always have a salad, or what other things did you eat to keep it interesting?
Yeah, so in the summertime, I had raw veggies, because we live in Northern California and it would be hot. And so when I would come back I go for a 4-mile walk in the morning. When I would come back, I didn't want anything hot. And so I would just have, cold veggies. I just put everything on a plate and munch on it. And in the winter time, I liked having steamed vegetables. And I never liked like I call it mono eating, where, you know, I never wanted just a plate of spinach or a plate of kale. And so I would do like onions, garlic, mushrooms, and maybe some carrots and some bell pepper, and then throw in the greens and then drizzle a little bit of vinegar over it. And I did eat breakfast when I was in the losing phase, and I would start with the non-starchy vegetables, but then, you know, if I was still hungry at the end of those, then I would let myself have a little dish of rice or a potato or a sweet potato if I wanted that. And then eventually, after I had lost the weight, I thought, you know, am I really hungry in the morning, or am I just eating out of habit? I'm going to start listening to my body, and I'm only going to eat when I'm hungry. And I realized I really wasn't hungry in the morning, and I started waiting until I was really hungry before I ate, and that started to be lunchtime. So, you know, sometime around 12 or 1, sometimes we don't get to lunch until 2 o'clock, and that's when I have my big, beautiful chopped salad with starch.
Fran is asking a really loaded question here. What about thin people who can eat processed foods in moderation? How come they can do that?
Yeah, you know what? We all have different wiring in our brains. It's just like some people can drink 1 glass of wine and they're done, and other people can't moderate drinking alcohol. And it just depends on your brain chemistry. We all are just a little bit different, but just because they can eat that processed food doesn't mean they should.
Yeah, because processed food is not going to satiate you as quickly. It's not going to process in your gut biome the same. What was that phrase? How do I say that when I eat?
You think about it while I say something.
Okay.
And really, nobody should be eating the processed foods because they're not healthy for us. And even if somebody is thin and they can eat that stuff and not gain weight, they're not doing themselves any favor, because you have to remember, this isn't about vanity. This isn't about just being thin. This is about being healthy. And, you know, we want to have a strong immune system. We want to have optimal health. And we know there's a direct correlation between what we eat and our brain. And so we don't want dementia, we don't want Alzheimer's, and all of these things, as well as certain cancers and heart disease and type 2 diabetes and all kinds of diseases can be related to what we are eating. And so, you know, we don't want to be jealous of people that can eat that way. Instead, I actually feel sorry for people who don't know better and don't know about eating healthy and the benefits that they would get from eating healthy. And so we're all just wired a little bit differently. Like, you know, Tom could eat a cookie and not eat the whole bag. But, you know, if I start down that path, I'm going to want to eat the whole bag. And so that's just how I'm wired.
So Tami was asking me, I remembered what I was trying to think of. Wow.
I'm so impressed.
That's a success right there. Okay. Tami asked me, you know, kind of what is my biggest thought about having gone plant-based, and my brain jumped immediately to gratification. On a plant-based diet, I get to eat as much good food as I want until I am full, comfortably full, and then I feel good afterwards. And that is very cool. The alternative to that, eating the processed foods, is when, you know, I eat the processed foods and I do not become full, and I do become uncomfortable. So plant food makes you comfortably full, and processed food makes you not full and uncomfortable.
Uncomfortably not full.
Uncomfortably not full. So yeah, if I get into too much anything processed, then I can tell it's not, you know, my system is not liking it. So anyway, that kind of triggers that. So
okay, so I'm going to touch on some of the questions that were submitted. So somebody wanted to know, in the quinoa banana oat muffins recipe, what I used on my Vitamix to grind some quinoa. and it was this attachment, and we also got this when we bought it. So we have the, how do you say the name of our Vitamix? Centrist? How do you say that?
It's the Ascent series or the Venturist.
Venturist, that's it. The Venturist. I don't know why I can't remember that. So this happens to fit on either of those two.
Oh, come on, that's a come on. Venturist.
Venturist or the Ascent series. And those are considered is it the smart model? Is that what they call them? What is the technology? The smart technology or something like that. And so, so if you have a Vitamix that is one of those two series, then these attachments will work. And we were able to purchase these from Costco to fit on our Vitamix. And we have them on our Amazon page. So www.amazon.com/shop/Nutmeg Notebook. They are on there. And I think they might have some other kind of attachment that you can get for the other Vitamix blenders that aren't those two series. And it works really well. Or you could just buy a small little food processor, or they make those small little blenders that are a bit high powered that will do a small amount of grains in them. Because the hard thing about the big pitcher for the Vitamix is if you want to do a small amount of grinding of something, it's really difficult to do that in them and get it to blend properly. So there you go on that. Then Jeannie wrote and said, I've made the air fried tortilla chips, and I have also seen that you use tortilla strips as toppings for your salads. How long are you air frying the strips? Is it time consuming to cut the tortillas into strips? No, it really isn't. It goes really fast. I usually put like 4 of them together and then just slice them thin using a chef's knife. And then I air fry them at 375 degrees, and it's a cold oven. I never preheat my air fryer. And how long it takes will depend on how thick and how wet they are. So I usually start with 4 minutes, but you know, sometimes if the tortillas are a little bit thicker, it will take longer, and then I just watch them really close because they'll go from looking just nice and golden to being burnt in a hurry. Okay, so, and then Stephanie said, you mentioned that you have hypothyroidism, and I've heard you say that before. I'm wondering if you eat sea vegetables like the dulse flakes or nori sheets for iodine. And I do a little bit, but not on any like regular basis. I'm not eating those like every day or every week for that matter, but I will use a little bit in some recipes. But the sea vegetables are a good way to get your iodine when you're on a whole food plant-based SOS free. This one I'm going to give to you because that's about the Breville. This one I just answered because that was about those attachments. And then Caroline wrote and said, you always say how free it is to maintain your weight without counting calories or measuring, and that you can eat to 80% full. Yet sometimes, even though a recipe is plant-based, sugar-free, low-calorie density, like the mint chip ice cream, you say this is a treat and I would not eat it every day. I'm confused. If it is plant-based, sugar-free, why can't you eat it every day? Is this just your personal preference, or is it because the recipe is so good it would trigger overeating, or do some foods, even though low calorie density, add weight? And that is a great question, and you are not the only one that asked that. And some people on the video, in the comments on the video, were asking about that too. So here's the answer for me. And you know, again, you have to remember, I always say that we're all an experiment of one. And so if you experiment with it and you can eat the banana and ice cream every day and it doesn't affect your weight, then I say go for it. Absolutely go for it. I do not have dessert every day, a dessert like that. every day. Just because one, I don't want it to be a habit. Two, I'm lazy. I don't want to have to wash my blender. You know, a lot of times after dinner, I think, oh, a dessert would be fun, but I'm done. I'm done with cooking. I'm done with doing dishes, and I just don't want to make a mess. Here's the other thing. That recipe, I call it 2 servings, and it has 4 bananas in it. And that means it's 2 bananas for each serving. And that is, you know, over 200 calories per serving. I wouldn't sit and eat 2 bananas. If I ate a banana, I would eat 1 banana. But you take it and you turn it into something creamy, smooth, cold, and delicious, like that mint chocolate chip ice cream, and you add the chocolate chips to it, and you know, it just makes it extremely delicious. And my brain goes, oh my gosh, this is like the sweetest thing we've had in a long time. Let's eat more. And I just don't want to get in the habit of it. Plus desserts, I don't know about you guys, but I'm never eating dessert because I'm hungry, right? Like I'm always having dessert after I just had a meal. And the meal is plenty of calories and plenty satisfying to me, but I'm eating dessert because it's pleasurable, because it's fun, because it tastes good. But I don't need those dessert calories at the end of the day. And so that's what works for me, to have it occasionally, but not to make it like an every night habit. It would probably lead to weight gain for me if I made that an every night habit. So I hope that explains it. But if you're the kind of person that can eat 2 bananas and the sugar-free chocolate chips every night, and it doesn't cause you to plateau if you're trying to lose weight, or if you're maintaining, it doesn't cause you to gain weight, then you know, I say go for it. I just can't do that for myself. That's just, it would just too many calories, too much food.
Okay, are you caught up?
I'm caught up.
Okay, so there was a question up here a little bit ago. This is from Linda.
Okay.
And it has to do with cooking vegetables. Can this style of eating be successful for a person who has a metal jaw and cannot have too many raw vegetables? I can manage fruit, but not a large salad. I really need my food fully cooked. So we should talk about cooking vegetables, and we should talk about chopped salads, maybe. So, so Tami does cook. A lot of our vegetables are cooked. My lunch steamed vegetables are all, you know, are quite cooked. I use them I put them in the pressure cooker for 4 minutes or 5 minutes, depending on how big a chunks of carrots and potatoes I've put in there. Beyond that, it gets mushy.
Yeah, you don't have, it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
raw vegetables. There are people that are eating whole food plant-based with a wide variety of food restrictions, people who have allergies or food intolerances or jaw problems, or you know, all sorts of things, and you can still make it work.
Yeah, and then you may want to just, if you haven't been exposed to our chopped salad videos yet, which chopped salad video would somebody that hadn't seen them before want to go to?
Just any of them.
Just Google or search on YouTube, Nutmeg Notebook chopped salad. A number of videos will come up. We chop them quite fine. Some folks eat them with a spoon.
I do. I eat mine
you eat yours with a spoon, yeah. I eat mine with oil-free corn chips that I make myself in the air fryer. So so those would be maybe workable in your situation. So take a look at those videos and see what it is we're doing with those salads. That might be helpful.
But you can also make, they call it a blended salad. I think Chef AJ has a video on making a blended salad where she takes the ingredients and puts them in a blender. You'll need a little bit of liquid and blend them up so that you can eat it with a spoon.
Very briefly, I presume.
Yeah, it's still got a little bit of texture to it. And also I wanted to say on the banana nice cream, when Chef AJ, she was already vegan, but she was an overweight vegan, so she was trying to lose weight, and she was at True North, and she had a session with Doug Lyle, and she's like, you know, I eat this, I have this smoothie every morning for breakfast. And he said, well, let's do a little experiment. When you get home, he said, I want you to, take all the ingredients that you would eat that you would blend into your green smoothie for breakfast. But instead of blending it, just go ahead, put everything in the blender container. But instead of blending it, dump it in a bowl and just eat it. Just eat it like it is without being blended. And so she did that, and she said there was no way she could eat it all. The fruit, the spinach, the kale, whatever it is that she had in that blended smoothie, she was not able to eat it all when she tried to eat it all unblended. And so that's kind of the same situation for me with the banana and ice cream. I couldn't sit and eat 2 bananas, one right after the other, but once they're blended and turned into a delicious frozen concoction, I can certainly eat all 2 of them. I could probably eat the whole container, all 4 of them. And so that's, once you've altered it, blended it, turned it into something else, sometimes it makes it just too easy to eat.
You want me to?
Yes, you
okay.
would talk about that.
We got an email submitted question from Beth, and it's about the air fryer that we have been referring to a few times. And you see it sitting over there behind Tami in this particular image, and clearer when we're on her camera. And the model number of actually it's listed in our Amazon shop page. So if you want dimensions, if you want the model number, go to our small appliances category on our Amazon storefront. That's Nutmeg Amazon.com/shop/Nutmeg Notebook. I put that link in our newsletter. It's also down in the show notes here. And go to the appliances section, and you'll find that little postage stamp size toaster oven looking thing. That is a Breville Smart Oven air fryer. Their toaster ovens look almost identical in the imagery, so be careful with that. So the first question is, what model is it? It is the BOV 900 BSS. That's the air fryer model. They've been playing with the names of things, but that model number has been consistent throughout. So yes, that's the model number, Beth. The question number 2 she had is this Chef AJ's preferred air fryer as well? Well, here's the story on that. She had a smaller Philips or something, and she came to our house, and she experienced...
Go-Wise, I think, was the brand.
Go-Wise. She experienced using our Breville Smart Oven Air here, and so she went home with, I got to get me one of those things going on, and soon enough, she had herself one. And
when we were there visiting her, she used it the whole week.
She baked and air fried in it constantly. And then that kind of leads to question 3: is there an air fryer only the one that we would be happy with over others? I think is the intent of this question. I see that Chef AJ has several, or at least 2. Because of the size of this tray that goes in here, I'm able to do my air fried corn chips, a full serving. Tammy's able to bake a dozen oat muffins. There's videos of that happening in an air fryer. If she's just doing one type of potato, she may bake up a whole batch of potatoes in there. She's always experimenting, looking for the perfect whole food plant-based pizza crust. And so we do use the pizza setting for that. When our family is here or the grandkids are here, we will use the toaster oven. As a toaster oven, it's slow because you have all of this space in there, which we want for the air frying function and the pizza function, but it's not,
Oh, as a toaster.
I would not buy it as a toaster oven. It'd be a very expensive toaster oven, number one.
But you mean the toaster function?
The toaster function is slow.
Yeah. But I love to bake in it.
Yeah, this particular model, I experiment with a whole wheat dough for my veggie pizzas, and I do use the proofing selection on that, and so that's unique to this model. The other Breville models or any other brands may or may not have that. So we have a strong preference for this machine. We list it on Amazon on our channel because That's usually where there's a better price, but not always. Bed Bath & Beyond, as you mentioned in your email, is a great place because you can use the coupon for in-store, not online. And that's actually how we bought ours, is with a coupon in-store. And then we are also Breville affiliates, and sometimes I list the Breville link when Breville's having a factory sale. I will put that link in. I noticed it's not in there today, but I have to go in and check their site once in a while and see if they're charging a discounted price, because they often advertise just retail, which is $100 more than what you can typically get it on Amazon or at Bed Bath & Beyond.
And usually Bed Bath & Beyond has the best price.
Yeah.
If you're able to go into the store and take the coupon.
Get it. But if you don't have a Bed Bath & Beyond, check our Amazon store. And we did, Breville did have a sale recently, and we actually had some purchased directly off the site at the $3.99 price, I think it was.
Yeah.
So
we've never had a standalone air fryer. We
were exposed to them at our friends' houses, and we decided that they're too small for most of what we would want to do.
Yeah.
We do have the crisp lid, and that's a backup for when one of us is tying up the big one. The other one can get the Milthy crisp lid out, which is the attachment that goes on top of a pressure cooker, 6-quart pressure cooker with a stainless steel
or
lid.
8.
And there's if you just Google Nutmeg notebook crisp lid, you can learn all about that one. That would not serve our needs as a standalone, though.
No, but if anybody has any recommendation for a standalone air fryer, if you want to put that in the comment section, because we've never owned one. When we bought the Breville, we actually did order a Philips at the same time, and then we never took the Philips out of the box. We decided to return it when we saw what the capacity was.
Lucy's referring to this same sale, that there is a $50 off right now.
Nice.
Of Bed Bath & Beyond. Then maybe you can also use your 20% coupon on top of that.
I don't know. Usually it's just one coupon.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know.
All right. Okay, bye, Dina. Dina has to go.
Okay.
All right. Let me scroll back up here, because while I was talking, I wasn't watching the chat feed. Can Tami show us the book? Dina said she had to go. No. Okay, well, Dina was asking about the books you have next to you.
Oh, yeah. These were just in case anybody asked any questions.
Okay.
So this was The Pleasure Trap, because I found that to be really helpful to learn about why moderation doesn't work. The Own Your Health, Chef AJ and Glenn Mercer co-authored this book, and Chef AJ did recipes for it, and I have recipes. Shada from Healthy Cooking with Shada has recipes in that. And then The Secrets to Ultimate Weight Loss. This is the plan that I used to lose weight, and it's full of recipes. I think there's over 100 recipes in this one. The McDougall program for maximum weight loss is very similar to Chef AJ's plan. His is just a little more liberal, but really good read and nice guidelines. And somebody asked him on an interview I saw, why haven't you updated this? And he said there's no reason to, because all of the information that's in this book is still accurate today, which I loved. I thought that was great. And then his starch solution book, it looks like I have 2 of those.
Did you know that you had the Beat Boost winner? They for that program, a Misty, 1922 Misty Blue won the Beat Boost giveaway.
Yes.
You didn't tell me that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did they tell you?
We've just been so busy.
Okay. All right. Well, now I know too. Okay.
Now you know too.
Back to books. Sorry, everybody.
That's okay. And then Dr. Greger's How Not to Diet book is also a really good read, and lots of wonderful tips and information in here as well, and very, very detailed. His book is very detailed. So these are just some of my favorite books that I found to be helpful for me. And I grabbed 2 of those, 2 of AJ's books. Anything else, Tom?
Well, Lucy's echoing what I thought, that when they have a sale, but you can still use your 20% off, I think.
You think you can?
Well, I don't know. And it could be.
It's worth a try.
It could be subject to the store manager's discretion. When we used our 20% coupon, there was a bunch of fine print about it didn't apply to Breville products, but we took it in and we asked about it, and they said, we would rather have you buy it here from us with the coupon than to order it someplace else. So please go pick out a Breville and we'll take your coupon. That they didn't want to send the business out the door. But they did make it clear that that would not be the case. I don't know of anybody having any success.
Nobody's been able to order it online
because the
and use
computer
the coupon.
won't accept
it.
accept that link.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Okay, so we need to give them an update on Holland Bowl Mill too.
Okay. Yeah, we're on the double camera.
Mm-hmm.
Holland Bowl Mill, as many of you regular viewers know, we had the
Perfectly Imperfect.
That was last Sunday.
It
That was just
was.
last week. That seems like a long time ago.
I know, it was a busy week.
Anyway, it was a pretty big response to that, and as a rule for chopping, we've been talking a lot about our 15-inch bowls, and so the 15-inch bowl inventory of both the premium bowls and the imperfect bowls got wiped out. There are still 12-inch bowls and 17-inch bowls. There will be more 15-inch bowls available about April 12th.
That week.
The week of April 12th. And on those, we'll do a communication about it, but they're going to extend our Nutmeg Notebook Perfectly Imperfect discount a little bit longer to accommodate folks to get orders in if they're waiting for that 15-inch bowl. But both in Beechwood and Cherry, there's plenty of 17-inch bowls. That if you're going to use them for chopping, I would maybe go that route, because the 12-inch bowl, you could do maybe what would for us would be a half a serving. Maybe for you it's a whole serving, but it's not as deep or as wide. But you can get it. You want to use it for something else.
Yeah, he thought he had plenty of bowls, but it was such an overwhelming response from everyone. There were so many orders that it just wiped
There
them
was
out.
an underestimation of people should not underestimate the plant food community.
That's
the
right.
whole food plant-based community.
Yeah, he was like, we'll run this for 4 weeks. We've got plenty of bowls, and they ran out in a matter of days.
Yeah, of that size.
Of that size, of the 15-inch. But if you want a 12 or 17-inch of the imperfect bowl to do your chopping in, or to put fruit in, or to serve salads out of, those are still available. The link is in the show notes.
Yeah.
And
So that's the news on that.
congratulations to everyone that ordered their bowls.
And then a similar story, and I put this in the newsletter for those of you that are subscribed to nutmegnotebook.com. You got the newsletter, and sometimes I use the same pictures, but if there's been an update, I change the text down below. So I'm not actually sending you the same thing always every week. I'm modifying based on current information. That Super Cubes 1 cup and half cup are flowing out of Amazon and off the direct website through our link, all listed below. And then back to Jake's original communication with me, he's expecting to have the 2 cups back in inventory by the end of this month. We're waiting on containers and customs and all that stuff. So that's starting to look up as well, because I've noticed orders coming through on our Amazon reports.
Nice.
I got Super Salad. I put Super Salad Saturday in there for folks to enroll. I put that in the newsletter. And I think that catches me up on that. There was one other thing dancing in my head, but I lost what it might have been.
I don't know.
Maybe it was a question here. Let me look. Oh, Tiffany says that she hopes that the cookbook writing is going okay.
Have had no time for that.
Okay. Norma, here's what I was going to share. Norma says, I made your lentil loaf with date glaze for church potluck yesterday. Today at our vegan meetup, I let our group know about your YouTube channel. I shared the beet juice powder and much, much more. Thanks.
Aww.
So hopefully the potluck folks liked the lentil loaf.
Nice.
Was that
Thank
the one
you so
that
much.
that we got the email from the?
Yeah, you can share that story.
Yeah, a lady sent us an email of a picture of an empty, clean casserole dish in her
loaf pan.
Loaf pan with a Post-it note from her husband that said, it had a kind of a mean face, with angled eyebrows and a straight line, or a sad face, and it said, "This is a problem." Because she's been making the lentil loaf and putting it into portions and storing them in this pan, and then he grabs one of those to take to work each day to put in his sandwich, and so he encountered an empty lentil loaf, or maybe took the last one, washed it, put it back in the fridge with the "This is a problem" sticker.
It was pretty cute.
So we got quite a chuckle out of that. Sometimes I feel that way when one of our bins of something that's... My biggest struggle is
cheese sauce.
when it's the end of the week. Well, no. When it's the end of the week and the potato supply is starting to dwindle, and there might be a couple of Japanese sweet potatoes in there and maybe one Hana, and probably I've eaten up all my Stokes that I eat Stokes for a snack or a dessert potato, and I go, can I get away with what if I take one of those JSPs? And then what if she's planning on having one today and one tomorrow? So I have this whole psychology of, am I pilfering beyond boundaries of taking somebody else's sweet potato? Yeah. So that's my refrigerator anxiety. Am I going too far with the sweet potatoes?
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, Lucy says, could Tom post again what to do the week of April 12th for the Holland Bowl deal?
We'll post it. We'll send out an email.
Yeah, we will send out an email. Just when those bowls become available, an email will go out to everybody that's on the nutmegnotebook.com subscription list. So go, if you haven't done so already, go to the blog, fill out the little pop-up window with your first and last name and your email address. That's all we need. And that's how I communicate with folks on what's going on in our little corner of the plant-based world, and also what's going on with our supporting vendors that help give us tools to feed ourselves the way we want to. Oh, and Jesse says, take the potato, don't look back, just take the potato. You can figure out your own potato situation. If there's a potato, any potato in there is fair game. Is that it? Okay.
Well, you don't have to live with Jesse.
I don't have to live with Jesse.
I'm just teasing. We don't have potato wars. What he gets more upset about is if the cheese sauce is gone.
And that's where we count on Dylan's cheese sauce being available.
And also, I will, when the bowls are back in stock, I will post about that on Instagram and on Facebook as well. Just, as another reminder so that people will know, because I know everyone will be anxious and excited. So we'll try all the ways that we can to let you guys know. Kathleen
says that you seem kind.
Oh.
Well, she said that we seem kind. So far,
nobody gets mad if somebody else eats the last potato. He likes drama.
Okay.
You like to make it look like it's drama.
You have to be careful though on the Yukon Golds that there's still, I need 2 cups of Yukon Gold potatoes for when I make cheese sauce.
Yeah.
So when we get dangerously low on Yukon Golds, that's a problem.
Is that a problem? Do you know how to bake potatoes?
I already make the rice. I already make the cheese sauce every week.
That's all you do. You do the rice and the cheese sauce.
And all of the technology.
We're talking about food here.
And I vacuum the carpet.
And I do the laundry.
I don't think they need to be in
this. Is this a tit for tat kind of thing going on?
Is anybody out there a counselor? It's time for some family therapy. Okay, I think we're done. I think we're done. Favorite cheese sauce from Jane. Tammy's what's the full name
Chipotle nacho cheese sauce.
Nutmeg Notebooks Chipotle nacho cheese sauce is my favorite cheese sauce. My second favorite cheese sauce is Well Your World's cheese sauce. I modify it using some of her spices, but that's my backup when I have failed in my duty of batch cooking our cheese sauce. What's one of my weekly chores.
Duties. And the Well Your World is a mix that you buy and you just put it in the blender. Yeah. So it's really easy.
Yeah, saved me yesterday
and the day before.
Well, no, it was yesterday and today. I have another serving for tonight.
Okay, well, I did my batch cooking for the week, so I made salads and potatoes and soup. I cut down the
tree yesterday.
And soup for you.
Here, we're tit for tat again.
Maybe you could make cheese sauce for us.
Will you be sweet?
I'm always sweet.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Oh.
We're finished, I think. There's no more question mark. Okay, last call for question marks, and then we got to go. We've been on here for 73 minutes.
Wow.
So
the time goes by really fast, though, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Okay,
because it's fun.
So we had quite a few new viewers today. Welcome. We're glad you joined us.
Thank you so much. Yes. Give us a thumbs up.
Yeah, a thumbs. We're supposed to ask for that
earlier.
Yeah, we have 84 right now.
Yeah.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click on the bell so you get notifications when we go live. I tried to send out the newsletter the day of the live, hopefully the morning of, to give you a prompt that we're going to be live that afternoon.
I usually do an Instagram post as well as a Facebook post also. And then if you're interested in the chopped salads on Saturdays, I do a Super Salad Saturday post on the Nutmeg Notebook Facebook page. And then you guys can go on there and you can post a picture of one of your favorite salads from the week and give us a little description of what's in it. And if you have a salad dressing recipe or a link to an SOS-free salad dressing recipe, you can post a link to that. And it's just very helpful because it gives all of us inspiration on different combinations that we can make to make our salads really fun and delicious. And Dr. Joel Fuhrman says salad is the main dish. And so we try to have one meal a day be a great big beautiful chopped salad with starch added to it.
Question from Misty Blue. Do you use the always pan? I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
We don't know what the always pan is. We'll need to Google that. We don't know that one. Okay, yeah, now we have more thumbs up. So, family therapy not needed. Tami should always win. You're welcome.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Tiffany.
Yeah.
Us girls got to stick
together.
together.
If the mama in the house ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Okay.
Randy says, wait, I don't have enough steps in yet. She must be walking while she's listening. Or on the treadmill. Are you on the treadmill, Randy?
Yeah, because she's using her PC. So,
That's
or
so
iPad.
funny.
Okay.
That is so fun.
All right.
All right. Well, that's all we have for now.
Yeah.
We should be back here next week
All right.
again. And we hope you all have a beautiful week. And do your batch cooking and eat healthy and make good choices. I'm Tami.
And I'm Tom.
Oh, we need to thank the moderators first.
You do that while I find the right
Okay.
window to go on. Thank you, moderators.
Tiffany, Randy, and Jesse, thank you so much for moderating and answering people's questions. And we couldn't do this without you. You guys are the best. So thank you so much for doing that.
They were quite busy today.
They
Yes.
were keeping you busy. Well, we do have a lot of new people
Yeah.
to the channel, which is really fun. And so if you haven't subscribed yet, please do go over to nutmegnotebook.com and become a subscriber. That way you won't miss out on all the wonderful things that we share in our weekly newsletter. So I'm Tami.
And I'm Tom.
And we help you get healthy and stay healthy one meal at a time. Thanks, you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.